Hi everyone, this is Jen Blue, and I am here to share. Just share my perspective, share my work, share my beingness. Excuse me. um, share my understanding, share my wisdom, share my knowledge at this time, because I feel it is necessary and it is purposeful, and that I am serving a purpose. So I want to talk about patriotism, right? And how patriotism has been just really it's been corrupted. It's been hijacked, it's been corrupted, like it's become so distorted. The way it's used, right, within dynamics. For instance, how people assume, like, let's say on the right, that somehow they are more patriotic, let's say, than those on the left. It's a distortion, right? So that's just not true. It's just not true. It's just your perception. It's just your perception. But it's your perception, right, because of the way things have been skewed. The construct, the American systems that we live within, the media, the government, the politics, everything, right? Everything the family you grew up in, your class, your race, all these different things, right? But patriotism is about connection, really. I feel true patriotism, it's about the feeling. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. It can become a beingness, right? But it's not. I feel that it has. In the old, it has served its purpose because, like, it needs to transition into this new beingness, I should say. What is truly patriotism, right? It is connection. It is feeling a deep connection to your homeland, your country, the love of it. Love. It's love. That is patriotism. It's the love, of your country. And that will be represented, in various different ways for people. But to say that somebody is unpatriotic because of X, Y, Z, just some blanket surface dismissive action of another's beingness or existence, right? Oh, you're just, right? How often do you hear that? How often do you tell that to yourself? Perhaps. Oh, that person's just deliberate. I grew up with this. Oh, they're just a tree hugger. Oh, this. Oh, that. Okay, but that's immature. That's juvenile. You're never going to understand a damn thing in this world if that's the attitude you take. These things exist out there for a reason. right? There are all these different aspects of what makes up this greater whole. And to just limit patriotism to this small little corner of what patriotism is bull fucking shit. And it's gotta go. It's gotta go, bro. So you have to understand patriotism in order to understand everything that is happening in this country, and perhaps where some people are coming from. And I'm not saying all. I'm saying because there are so many people that are disrupting a very they are disrupting a process, right? Let's say. There's all these different other things that are happening, right? That are really attempting to stop just progress, right? In this, like, I feel that, our country was set up, was founded, right? Everything was founded, but it was just founded, on certain ideals, right? And I am in full recognition of other evils that were also brought in at that time. Slavery, right? Killing of innocent Native Americans. Pushing out of these tribal peoples. Taking their land. I'm aware of that. And I honor that as a part of this nation's history. That doesn't make me unpatriotic. That doesn't make me not love my country. That doesn't make me un-American. In fact, I feel that is what makes an American, a true American. I feel that way deeply. That we must become the America that we are meant to become. And that is what we have the capacity for at this time. And that is what I hold space for. That is what I hold space for. Because it is only one step at a time. That's it. You have to learn how to accept that. And once you're able to accept that everything is and can only be, one step at a time. And that's not to say that you don't receive, you don't know that certain things are meant to be this way, let's say. But you have to understand that you have to let go of whatever it is that you're holding on to in order to take those steps forward. Every day, some step, right, towards that higher risen, right, that one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do you see that vision? Can you hold that vision with me? Can we hold it as Americans? Can we hold it? Can we believe in it? That we all have the capacity for this. This beautiful rising of America. Because we could use a little bit of positivity. We could use a little bit of oomph. We could use a little bit of traction. we could really make America great again. I mean, we could really make America great. I'm not going to say again. Really make America great. We have so much potential. At this time. To really, really innovate and come together as one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we can come into that space and work towards that as a people, can you imagine how powerful that is? Can you imagine how beautiful that would be to experience that, to be a part of that rising, that grand rising, right, of this country, of this world, of, and I'm just saying this just because I'm talking to my people here in this country, right? This is for all, right? This is not about playing small, and this is about being US of A. Challenge you all to get out of your bubble, to get out of your bullshit, and recognize that you have been sleeping and that you have a lot of things to begin to awaken to from within yourself. Come into understanding of from within yourself. To release the shackles of the past and to free ourselves as a people. To create the America that we are going to choose to embody, right? But we have to do it within ourselves. We have to become America. What is truly America? Land of the free and home of the brave. I mean, those are important symbols within our country's history. If we can all align ourselves, right, within that and free ourselves of that old system that we are that is not working any longer, whatever that may be, and connect into the whole, right, everything that is happening now, and understand everything that is happening now, and align yourself within that reality. It is that I am here to share. That is the things that really do make America great. Let's start thinking of those. What makes America great? What within America can we love? What can we love? And start there, because I'm sure there's something, and you don't have to do this. It's just a choice. This is just a choice that one may come to, and it's just where I'm at. I'm choosing this, right? I'm choosing this moment to anchor in perhaps this love of country, love of nation, love of people, love of this, really within this whole world. We all share a common history as humanity. How do we tap into humanity? Humanity's story, perhaps. The rise of humanity, the rise of a new humanity, the rise of something greater. What is wrong with greater? I'm sure we would all be wanting to align towards something greater. But no, many of us want to put ourselves in this small little box and say, okay, let's limit, let's close ourselves off from this greater potential, this higher potential, this greaterness, this betterness, this next step in the history of things. Like, can we embody that America? Can we be that America? Can we create that America? That's what I envision. That's what I hold space for. That's what I am holding space for. So, sharing that I feel that this is what it truly means to be an American patriot. Truly. Because I feel that we all, this isn't about, oh, you are a patriot if you go and you join the military and you fight for your country. Yes, that is patriotism. That is an aspect of patriotism. That is a path, right? That is a, and it's beautiful, right? It's a beautiful choice, one that one makes to serve their country. I have made that choice many times over. I have served my country. I have gone certain ways of serving my country, and now I am going in another way. There are many ways to express patriotism, because patriotism is something it's a space you act from, right? A beingness. You can be an everyday patriot. How do you show up? How do you show up at this time, right? In your fullness, in your wholeness, in your ability to hold space for, create change, to be, engage within this fully, wholly, and completely functioning, perhaps, society. And respectful. That's what I imagine too, is respect. You can all start showing like compassion and understanding with people. Like, can we have more of that, perhaps? I mean, I'm sure we could all use a little bit more of that. A little bit more blending. A little bit more harmony. How do we create harmony within you, within your family? How do we go to the family? Because families are a mess. The way we choose our partners and the way we have children is, everything's got to change. And it's not about holding on. It's about letting go. Creating new family structure, right, that truly supports, the children of tomorrow. How do we create for the children something new for our children, so they have something, so they can reach their highest potential, really, just so they can reach their highest potential. Because I can tell you that things need to change, and they need to change because I see it. I work within certain circles. I have worked within certain circles, and we are not healing this stuff within ourselves before we make certain choices, and until we come from this healed space to make these choices, right? We're just creating from a space of dysfunction. And I know this because I have looked at it myself, and I have done the work to recognize it, really, with within myself and within others, and I've helped others work through it and release it. And so I know it's like it exists and it helps people, right? Because when you are in this new space, let's say, and you are able to create and manifest through that space, that new beingness, that new self, really, that authentic self, then everything is working perfectly. But when you deny and you hide and you place yourself a box and you try to make something that it isn't real, but you're trying to make it real, but it isn't real, and then it's like, well, you wonder why we have the problems that we have. Within marriages, within families, within the inability to co-parent, the inability to reflect upon perhaps certain family dynamics that you grew up in that were dysfunctional. I grew up in an alcoholic family. I talked about I grew up within xenophobic family. I grew up within, and these are the things that many of us grew up in. This is just what we grew up in, and that just is, okay? It's okay. We can all learn from it, and we can move forward. But we actually have to go through that process. You can't just say it, and that's it, and you learn. No, you actually have to go through the process, right? So it's, in order to understand, right, what needs to change from here on out, and to come up with, right, that, create that change, really, and to create that change. Because old models of parenting, right, where we just perhaps, recreated, right, whatever we had within our family, that is not going to create the harmony that we really, truly desire within ourselves. Nobody wants to have that kind of home. Nobody wants to create that, and you have this, but in order to truly create, right, that family structure, like, you have to create that family structure. Co-parenting. How do you learn how to co-parent? How do you have create a healthy relationship with your partner before you bring children in? Or perhaps how do you create a healthy relationship with your partner now that is truly a healthy, functioning relationship that you are happy within, that you feel good within, that is working for you? You need that partnership, right? You need a strong partnership in order to create a strong family structure. One that is going to withstand, right, the tests of time, right? It's going to withstand. That's how you create a healthy, functioning, optimal, whatever it is that you desire. Because we need that within society. And we need that, this awareness, right? We need to start building this. And how do we begin? We begin now, wherever we are at. Wherever we are at, and we start looking at things from new perspectives. And perhaps that starts with, well, what do I truly desire? What is the vision? What does that look like? What do I desire to create, just in and of itself, right? Free of anything that you're holding on to. How do I recognize where that potential lies? And how powerful it is, really. It really comes down to just, accepting things as they are, coming into surrender to things just as they are. I know it's harder than, it's not all that easy. I know that. It's a process. But eventually you come into this space of, okay, how do I recognize that things are just not working? And how do I align to creating that change? Within reality, within your wholeness, within who you truly are. And it'll be individual to you. What you choose to create moving forward. That's just one of the things, that I have been guided to begin to support in my work with people. I help guide them into these spaces. I mean, that's pretty, sacred mission work there. Because it's true. This is what we all need to begin to, in order to really create change, this is where it starts. This is where it starts. It starts within yourself. It starts within your homes. It starts within your day-to-day choices. Perhaps it's... I have thought about this one many times. You look at Amazon, right? This billionaire. This guy could literally... Wow. They say, however much this guy makes, if you take that and you actually, let's say, brought that in, you could end world hunger. But then, okay, let's say that is, okay, so then why don't we just, as an individual, okay, well, I'm not going to support Amazon anymore. Maybe I'm going to start buying local. I'm just saying. I'm not saying this is, I'm just trying to help people shift their perspectives back to themselves and, because that's where change begins. So maybe rather than, and we all buy things off Amazon because it's hell of a convenient, but we are supporting that man, right? We're supporting that man. It is a choice. We are making a choice of convenience. How do we empower ourselves and say, okay, well, maybe my choice matters, and maybe I'm going to align to a different choice, and instead of ordering everything off Amazon, maybe I'm going to go up to my local store and I'm going to buy things there. Rather than just relying on things, like political reach and politicians and the government and everybody else. Why not just start doing it yourself and sharing others to start doing it? Make a campaign. Stop buying from Amazon. That's how democracy works. Do you see? So that is how we work. That is how we function as a people in order to create change. We pull our, whatever we are supporting, right? And we say, okay, I'm not going to support this anymore because I don't align to it. I just, no, I'd much rather support this, right, than supporting this billionaire and these low wages of workers. Okay, so how do I choose then to maybe pay a little bit more money and start, perhaps, I'm just saying, go buy local. Perhaps it's a move away from all this consumerism, all this consumption, all this buying up stuff. And perhaps it's, to services. Paying people for their services. Moving into new models of how we exchange money. Again, how we do business. The economy. Because I'm telling you, things are likely to get worse before they get better. It's just a feeling. It's just a feeling. And that I feel that where our energy is most needed is in, stabilizing some kind of economy. And maybe it's the local economy. Right? But how do we start maybe going to the local levels? How do we create change on a local level? Right? I guess that's what I'm getting to. How do we, start acting as a people? But, an individual within the whole. And that is an American. That is what I feel it means to be an American. When you understand America, like what everything, let's say, my feelings, my perspective, just where I come from, right? There's this individualism in America. There's this self-made, right? There's this American dream. Let's connect to the American dream. It's funny because my brother once said to me, because I used to be an idealist, and then I became a realist, and then I've had my fair share of evolution and battles within, within the whole. As I truly came to grips with America, all of America, from all these different perspectives, including, this other America. You could say the shadow America that exists, the dark side of America. Everything has a light and a dark. We just have to accept that. It's not about good guys and bad guys anymore. I mean, we got to get past that, right? It's not about good guys and bad guys. It's just not. It's 33-44 just there. Let's get out of that stance. Let's get out of that distortion of good, bad, like this black and white. Things are not black and white. Things are much more complex than that. We need to come to grips with that. Surrender into that. Just what it is. Let's look at things from that perspective, that understanding. Let's broaden our scope, our range. Let's open up. Stop putting ourselves in this little box that is not serving anyone. How do we become America the Great? As individuals, how do we become a great American? How do we become a patriot, great patriot, individually, and how do we become a great American? This is not about, this is about moving into truly realizing the potential at this time. Let's all start working together, right? Can you imagine that? Such a far off idea to work with somebody else, to work together as one. So far out. So it's not. It's what needs to happen. That's America. That is America the Great. That is the America that I am laboring into being, birthing into being. That's the America I'm desiring to birth into being, and that I am birthing into being with every step I take. I am a part of that, and I would love for others to connect into that ability themselves if they choose to. That would be awesome and cool. But everybody can do whatever they want to do. This is just a path that I am setting up for myself. So, in my country, in my nation, right, and I am open, right, to understanding perhaps where I need to understand more, perhaps where I need to dig deeper, perhaps where I need to look into, whatever it may be. But that is an important aspect of being an American, because that is part of America, that individualism, that being self-made. I'm always brought back to that film, and then I'm going to seal this space, but that film Far and Away with Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman are Irish, right? Irish. Perfect. Irish. Nicole Kidman is part of the aristocracy, you could say. The power, right? The one in power, she comes from a family of power, of wealth. I'm like Protestant, I'm assuming. I don't know if they actually go into that in the movie, but you could see it from that sense, perhaps. Connected to, right, the British rule, let's just say. Right? It's not like they actually say this, but this is the time, the context, I would assume. So, Tom Cruise is connected to the land. He's the Irishman, likely Celtic origins, something like that, right? Catholic, possibly. But in the beginning of the film, he's with his father, and Englishmen, people who, the power, the control, right? Those who are in power and control come in, and I think they take his land, maybe. Something like that. I don't remember the movie exactly, but there's something that happens, right? And they almost kill his father, I think. Or maybe they do kill his father. But he goes to this home where Nicole Kidman lives and her family. And they're in this huge mansion, right? And it's his duty. It is his duty to go and claim his land, let's say. I've never seen this movie like this. So cool. So I gotta have to watch it again. So Nicole Kidman is this. She's a handful, right? She's a handful of a woman. She's kind of hooked up to possibly be married to this other dude, and she's like not having it. That is not her man. But she's fighting it. Like she's got this feistiness to her. She wants to have some independence. She wants to free herself from this life, right? But Nicole Kidman, they meet. She stabs him, but they the connection's there. Like this, they have this connection, right? And the family takes them in, and rather than I think they were going to bring in the authorities. I don't remember exactly what was going to happen, but they started like kind of healing him, and there's this interesting dynamic between Nicole and Tom Cruise's character, and it's a great movie. It's a great dynamic, and and she like calls him like stable boy, I think, or something, right? He's just a stable boy, but yeah, it's like love, attraction at first sight. It's just this because he's not taking her shit, right? And so some point, like, they go and she's like, I don't know if she comes to get him. I can't remember exactly what the interplay was, but she comes to get him, I think, or they somehow come together, and she's like, I'm going to America, and I need you to come with me. I need you to essentially like be my slave. Be my, my protector. Let's just say my protector, and I'll pay your fare. And so he agrees. He agrees. They go to America. She's like his, protector, his her guard. Let's just say her guard, or and he's like, so he kind of acts the part. He's just like kind of pretend like, oh, okay, how may I be of service? And it's a really good movie. So anyways, they get there, and they just can't get rid of each other. Right? They just can't get rid of each other, but there's this, they tell people that they're brother, sister, and nobody really believes them. There's just too much going on there, but they don't, they don't get it quite until, later, different points in the film. And so, where was I going to go with this? So, but they get to America, and it's like this process of becoming an American. Because you got to let everything go. Right? Whatever you came from. We're just following the theme of the movie here. So, whatever, they get to New York. Guess what happens? They got to work, right? She gets all of her wealth stolen. Like, she had a whole bunch of silver and stuff. And somebody, like, literally, the moment they make it on, into New York Harbor and they get on land, it's like they are being met with everything that's going on in America, right? The ideal, like, oh, we're just going to go to America and it's going to be like this. Oh, not really like that. There's a little bit more to it, right? And so they immediately she gets her stuff stolen, and now all of a sudden Tom Cruise is like, he's got the wit, he's got the wherewithal, he's got, he's like, let's go, come on, let's go, I'll take care of you, because she was a strong woman, right? She was a strong woman, but she was still kind of, in her white womanness, her heiress, her, right, that old stance, right? Wherever she came from. Like, no, I ain't gonna work here, sister. Right? And she gets put into, she's got to pluck feathers off chickens. It's 2:22 here. All this different stuff. And, and so she becomes very grounded, right? And then, there's all this stuff that happens. He becomes a boxer. He's got to go through his own path, right? They each go through their own path of, their own journey, right? Their own journey into union, into coming together, and into claiming their land, right? And that's and it's really for him, it's this reclamation of of his masculinity, of his his path, of his, that's He reclaims it. It's like that's his land. That's, so he goes through this, journey of really coming into his wholeness. And she goes through her journey of falling in love with him, you could say. I mean, there's more, to becoming a woman, like a real woman, and her standing up into her power. It's really what it was. But, there's also a love story there. What's wrong with a love story? Love stories are great, right? Everybody loves a good love story. And she almost loses him, and then he comes back, and they reclaim the land. Toxic masculine dude over there is gone. But it's a truly beautiful story. But, it is that, right? It's a giving up of everything in order to become, to reclaim, right? Reclaim what was taken from you. Become that full potential, perhaps. That unified potential, perhaps. That, because for her, it's like she gave up everything. She gave up everything, right? Because it wasn't hers. She didn't want it, right? But that was also her path. Because that was her path. She wanted to become her own woman. She did. And there was always this interplay between her, who she was, right? Who she was. And what she wanted to truly create. This wholeness, right? You're able to be in this wholeness, be with another, and just claim that, because I think at the end they both like hold the flag and they put it in the ground, and it's like that. It's like it's their land, right? It's not his land. It's their land, right? And he shares that journey with her. Oh, that's great. It's a great reading. So, it's that sharing, right? It's kind of like that sharing and that recognition of, all parts that make up a whole, let's say, on some level. And I'm just sharing that specific example. That is not to discount the whole. But I just thought that was true in so many respects, that process of what truly belongs to you. Right? Truly your like divine inheritance, your going through like the eye of the needle, right? Camel through the eye of the needle. You just it's that process. It's like going through the process of becoming an American, the birth, right? And having to tend to all those other parts as well. Because birth is really just a process of bringing in new life. So how do we bring in new life, right, to this country? How do we bring in new energy to things? How do we breathe life in? bring life in, bring in the new, anchor in the new, right? Yeah. So, 15 minutes. So, I just wanted to share that. I don't know how I'm going to title this, but until next time, toodaloo.